Now on CoastTV News.
Rehoboth Beach demolitions, grottos gone, and the Jam Bistro on Baltimore Avenue as well.
Smoke, haze, and pollen affecting people in our area.
Finding space for the Clear Space Theater in coastal Delaware, where the Rehoboth-based theater could move.
Sunshine will continue Friday ahead of the unsettled start to the weekend with showers and a rumble of thunder. All that in the midst of while we're tracking some additional smoke. We'll have all your full forecast coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
An excavator knocking down the old and ushering in the new in Rehoboth Beach. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 5. We begin tonight in Rehoboth Beach with demolitions taking place just 1 block away from each other.
On the left of your screen is work taking place on the old site at the North End Grottos. Now on your right, that's the old Jam Bistro on Baltimore, both just totally demolished there. And joining us live in Rehoboth Beach is Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson. Brandon, you're at the site of what was Jam Bistro.
Maddie, demolition work started here days ago and is still underway right now. But the reason for all this destruction is to make way for the proposed Atlantic Crown Hotel. Now follow me and take a look at the end of Baltimore Avenue, just to the right of the new Beach Patrol station. That's where the Grottos and the old Sirocco Hotel are, but they're being demolished right now too. That's to make way for the approved One Rehoboth Avenue Hotel, and people we spoke with are sad to see these buildings go.
Jam's Bistro and the North End Grottos, food staples in Rehoboth Beach, now gone.
It's unbelievable to see it all coming down.
On your screen right now is what could replace the old bistro. It would be called the Atlantic Crown Hotel. The Planning Commission last reviewed the site plan in December. They wanted changes made to the plan. And until a new plan is presented, that project is on standby. Meanwhile, just a few hundred feet away, the North End Grottos. Janet and Richard Lawrence say they remember when the Grottos was first built.
Ever since they opened, yeah. And we would come to the beach here and eat grotto pizza every week.
But they're optimistic about what the future holds for the One Rehoboth Avenue Hotel.
But I know they're going to rebuild, and I'm sure it'll be beautiful. I know it'll be really nice.
Demolition here started on April 21st, but will have to pause on May 15th due to the city's demolition ban over the summer, but it will resume in September.
Michael Maybaum is the owner of the company that's demolishing the Grottos. He says the shops that make up the identity of Rehoboth's boardwalk won't be gone for long.
The Grottos will be coming back, Selkies will be coming back. They'll have all the shops on the first floor and a hotel on the second and on up.
2 demolitions in Rehoboth Beach, tearing down the past to make way for the future of the nation's summer capital.
If you take a look behind me on this corner of Baltimore Avenue, that's the Atlantic Sands Hotel. Now this is the same owner that's trying to propose the new Atlantic Crown Hotel here as well. Live in Rehoboth Beach, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
The demolition projects aren't the only thing being worked on in Rehoboth. The new and upgraded Rehoboth Beach Patrol, you see it right there, getting closer to opening its doors. This is what it looked like today. We're starting to see it take shape. The city says, though, it is about $750,000 over budget, but it'll also make its mid-May deadline there in Rehoboth Beach.
New tonight, a teenager is accused of starting a wildfire that has scorched more than 15,000 acres in New Jersey. Jason Kling is charged with arson. Investigators say the 19-year-old set wooden pallets on fire and then left the area before the flames were fully out. The Jones Road fire has burned 15,000 acres and resulted in roughly 5,000 evacuations. For the last 2 days, we've seen that smoke and haze traveling through our area. That, combined with the high pollen levels, has made it tough outside for many of us. Coast TV News reporter Anna Sophia Roman is in the newsroom. Anna Sophia, doctors tell you this combination, it can be serious.
Charlie, doctors say it's especially for those who have lung conditions. Earlier today, I was able to see the hazy and smoky skies by Route 113 in Georgetown. As for the pollen, I could see it in almost every car. People I spoke with today say their allergies have been bad. A pulmonologist and critical care doctor in our area says both the smoke and pollen are risk factors for those with asthma and COPD.
First thing you have to do, make sure you're taking your maintenance inhalers. If you're already on inhalers, make sure you're doing that. Have your rescue inhaler with you. Make sure it hasn't run out. If it's run out, please contact your doctor and get a refill. And then try to avoid triggers.
Dr. Mahmoud recommends keeping an eye on the air quality index and also the pollen count. He says if you're planning on spending time outside, to wear a mask the next few days is the best idea. Back to you.
And we're taking a live look into Laurel right there. Nice day out as we check in with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams. Paul, how's it going?
Well, it's going really rough on the folks that have chronic breathing problems. Let's go over both the pollen count as well as dealing with that possibility, that smoke. So with the pollen count, the trees are very much on the high side. The mold is still at a very high level. So that's just for the folks that are dealing with the pollen. Now let's talk about the smoke. Now this is actually what we were tracking throughout the day. We knew this was going to be a concern. So we began to run our specialized smoke modeling. You see at 8 o'clock it hovered around the Salisbury area and then it moved over towards Seaford right around 9 o'clock. And as we tracked it throughout the day, we saw that plume really becoming dominant throughout the central and western portions of the state. And then it began to move more so towards north, affecting Lewis and then going into Georgetown by the time we got to, let's say, 12:30. The air quality has now been downgraded for the entire peninsula. Now, we had a couple of green dots yesterday just for reference. Now we're looking at moderate for the entire region. Now, if we get to orange, we're going to have some significant problems, but we're looking at this possibly getting a little bit better, and then a little rain might actually help us out. Now, speaking of that, we'll talk more about the possibility of rain coming up in our full forecast. Until then, back to you.
Paul, thank you so much. The Clear Space Theater Company, it's been on Baltimore Avenue in Rehoboth since 2004. You just saw the word Lewis, though, for a reason. Follow me here. Clear Space has tried to move before, but faced opposition from neighbors in Rehoboth. And there was a drawn-out application process with the city, which resulted in a lawsuit. Now, hear this. ClearSpace may move out of Rehoboth entirely and is also considering space in Lewis.
And this brings us to our poll, our Coast TV poll. We want to know the best location you think for ClearSpace.
Let's take a look at the results so far. It looks like 40% say Rehoboth Beach, 24% say Lewis, 12% say Georgetown, 8% say Bethany Beach, and 16% say elsewhere. And I'm curious if we get some comments what those elsewhere answers could be.
Yeah, write in if you have an opportunity. If you're one of those elsewhere voters, we'd love to know. And you can go vote at coasttv.com or use your Coast TV mobile app.
Right now, tens of thousands of mourners are paying their respects to Pope Francis. NBC's Alice Barr shows us how people are saying their final goodbyes while the Vatican prepares for Saturday's funeral.
Outside St. Peter's Basilica, the long wait for a brief goodbye to Pope Francis.
I think it's very important to be here, just show our respect to the Holy Father.
Mourners by the tens of thousands lining up for hours.
There's an Indian priest behind me, there are Italians next to me, so just to live this special moment together with the whole church.
To pray by the simple wooden casket lying in state in this holy place.
Walking in there, it was so silent, but you could feel how much people really cared about him.
Pope Francis made it his mission to be close to the people, especially in times of need. Ariana Mihailovich met him when her late husband, soccer star Sinitsa Mihailovich, was gravely ill.
Papa Francesco ci diede molto coraggio.
She says Pope Francis gave them courage, that he was sensitive, gentle, and funny, calling her husband a saint for bringing along his mother-in-law.
Gli disse certo di essere proprio un santo.
Now, as the Vatican prepares for a papal funeral with world leaders, including President Trump, flying in, security is ramping up in the ancient Vatican City, where cardinals will soon begin their secretive conclave to choose the next pope.
Giving this beautiful reverence of yesterday,
we spoke with Cardinal Christophe Pierre, the Vatican's diplomatic envoy to the U.S., who called Pope Francis a beautiful person, and this a profound moment for the Church and its future, as many hope the successor will continue Pope Francis's path.
And we want Pope Francis II now.
A vision for the Church guided by inclusion, service, and humility that grounded Pope Francis with the people who loved him. In Rome, Alice Barr.
Each Friday, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV. It is full of features, cool things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up now for our Feel Good Friday newsletter. You can do that at coasttv.com/signup. A shaky start to the home buying season, what experts say is keeping buyers on the sidelines this spring.
We are in for another sunny, marvelous day on Delmarva for our Friday, but we are tracking rain and thunderstorms to begin our weekend. I have the latest timing of the rain in my full forecast coming up.
But first, protecting pets, the gear local fire crews are getting now thanks to a caring community. That's up next.
People love their pets. Many even consider them as part of the family. So when disaster strikes, one neighborhood group wants to make sure first responders have the resources they need to help every member of the household. In this week's Coastal Connections, we introduce you to the animal lovers making that mission possible.
You're a good girl. Very good. We'll do anything for treats, right?
This is Pat Halco and her poodles, Gracie and Candy. Like most pet parents, she spoils them with treats, toys, even what she calls her poodle room. And it's a love that Pat shares with her neighbors, Debbie and Jane, just a few faces from the Peninsula Lakes Animal Lovers Group.
We have donated to Brandywine SPCA, to HAP, and to the ARC, monetary donations.
But their latest initiative goes beyond the basics. They're donating life-saving equipment to local fire companies, pet oxygen masks.
Each kit comes complete. There is actually a set of 3 masks, a large, a small, and a medium. They can be used on various species, as we said, dogs, cats, ferrets, birds. Some people may even have a little pygmy pig in their house or something.
The difference between a pet oxygen mask and a human oxygen mask is simply the shape of it. You can see this is the pet oxygen mask, and a dog or cat or any other kind of pet, their snout could fit in here and the oxygen would obviously come through here. Now a human mask is more of a triangle shape, and you could fit a human's nose and mouth in it.
It's something that they have if they need it. Obviously, we wouldn't want them to have to, rely on it.
But the Indian River Fire Company has had to rely on them.
Over the last year, we have had 2 instances, one in Millsboro, where there was a pet involved, and they were successful in resuscitating and bringing the dog back to a process. And the second one was also a successful event.
Indian River Fire President Patrick Miller says the masks made all the difference.
I believe they were beneficial. It certainly gives them the ability to have a better quality of air delivery to their lungs and to their body, as opposed to a nasal cannula or another device that we would have to make shift.
Now, thanks to the Animal Lovers Group, fire departments in Lewis and Millsboro have their own sets after a recent donation and presentation from Pat and the crew.
They are the lifeline for us, and it's important to support them and give them any help that we can.
Helping those who help us and the pets we love so much. For Coastal Connections, I'm Christina DeRobertis.
Well, you would think on a perfect sunny day, we'd have really hardly anything to talk about from the weather department other than just how great it's going to be tomorrow. And it will be great. However, with the smoke coming from the fire out of New Jersey and the fact that we have elevated concerns with the allergy count, those with chronic breathing problems, it's been a bit of a challenge, even though it's been a very beautiful looking day. Our Dry-Tech camera, Ocean City, holding right now 60 degrees. We will drop to about 56 as early as 8 o'clock with mostly clear skies. Winds relatively light, but right now temperatures are above the norm for this time of the year. As you take a look, we're in the 60s along the coast with 62 Bethany Beach, 68 in Lewis at this time, but we are 10 degrees warmer in Redden. It's 77 degrees right now in Seaford, as well as Bridgeville and in Milford. The winds right now coming off of the waters out of the southeast, but gusting up to about 12 to 13 miles per hour. So the winds aren't necessarily problematic, except what it's carrying with it, which is the smoke from Jersey. Now the air quality has been downgraded to just moderate throughout the entire Delmarva Peninsula. We're not in the danger area. That's when it would have to turn, the circles would turn orange for us, but we're monitoring it constantly. And the cloud cover is staying relatively light. Now, we have air quality alerts that have been in effect for portions of Baltimore and a lot of throughout portions of Maryland as a result of that fire, but we're still getting a little bit of that careening around actually, it's a Canadian high-pressure system. Now, today is also Thursday, so we update what's happening with the drought monitor. We're still looking pretty good for most locations, but we're still at abnormally dry to possibly moderate drought over in the Cambridge area, so we need some additional rain. Now, speaking of that rain, as far as this month is concerned, we're a half an inch ahead of pace, or ahead of schedule, so to speak, at 3.12. Now, for the year, we're about 2.5 inches in the excess of the rain that we're usually having for this time of the year. Now, as far as the next few days, we're looking at an elevated chance of rain developing on Saturday, Friday night going into Saturday. But for tonight, we're mostly clear and calm and low 50s. Our storyline is this: Friday, excellent, mild sunshine. Saturday, scattered showers. Sunday, sunny and reasonable and seasonable. Now, the pollen count has been a big problem, too, because the mold is at a very high level. I mean, and the trees have been elevated as well. In fact, we're keeping up with the trees, and with oak, ash, birch, and maple, they are still at elevated or high levels. Marvelous sunshine for us, 77 for us in Georgetown, 75, for example, in Cambridge, and we're looking for 72 degrees, for example, in Snow Hill. And as you take a look at our expectations, we go into Friday looking pretty clear, but then Saturday we see the scattered showers begin to move throughout the area, and then we see those showers begin to pop through for Saturday afternoon. And the amount of rain that we're expecting, up to an inch in Millsboro, and Long Neck and Dewey Beach, that slice of blue, is what we're expecting, pardon me. So thunderstorms on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday going into Monday and Tuesday, temperatures will escalate immediately. So here's the summary. 50 for tonight, partly cloudy and comfy. 78 for tomorrow, marvelous, simply marvelous sunshine and weather. And then for Saturday, 78 again, but this is where 78 might work against us because the thunderstorms will bring a rumble of thunder. We could see them get a little nasty with that much heat in place. Here's a look at your extended forecast. If the storms decide to take a turn for the worse on Saturday, we'll be right on top of it and update you on all our social media platforms.
Thank you, Paul. Coming up this Friday and Saturday, head on over to the Harrington Fairgrounds for the DSN Outdoor Expo. It's free. It's family friendly. It's on Friday, visiting from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then on Saturday, it'll be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Outdoor Expo is your one-stop shop for everything outdoors.
Coming up, American Airlines sales, how much the airline says it lost after the deadly crash, and how other airlines fared. Next at 5.
American Airlines says it took a financial hit after the deadly crash in Washington, D.C. earlier this year. The airline estimates it lost about $200 million in ticket sales following the January mid-air collision. Important note, it is still under investigation whose fault the crash was. All 64 people on board the plane and 3 people in the helicopter were killed. Rival Delta Airlines says its passenger bookings also fell in response to the D.C. incident, which was the first deadly crash of a U.S. airline in 16 years.
The critical spring home buying season, it's off to a rocky start. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. Sales of previously owned homes dropped nearly 6% in March from the month before to 4 million. That's actually the weakest March for home sales since 2009. Officials attributed the decline to persistently elevated home prices and economic uncertainty.
Tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, right now, Del Mar hosts Mardella in softball. Then at 7:30, the premiere of Season 3 of Into the Trenches. And at 10:30, it's the final score. On the DSN Plus app, there's a couple of games happening now. You can watch Cambridge, South Dorchester, and Easton in softball. Also, catch Cape versus Laurel in baseball. And finally, Sussex Central versus Lake Forest in girls soccer. CoastTV News will be right back.
Into the Trenches is back for its 3rd season. This year we follow the Cape Henlopen Vikings football team. It premieres tonight at 7:30 on DSN and DSN Plus.
Speaking of DSN, the Outdoors Expo for Friday, 3 to 8 o'clock. Listen, we're looking for all kinds of beautiful sunshine for Friday and Saturday. Don't let the sun, or rather the rains, deter you, because a lot of the events are going to be inside. Here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Even though it's going to rain on Saturday, it's still a lot of events inside, so go out and enjoy.
All right, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.